need to create a folder where we will be saving the next steps of our project. So open the File Explorer. Once again, make sure you go to your network drive, cis-analytics.its.appstate.edu/cis, whatever your number. In my case, it's 39. And then I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call it SSIS_project_files. And just to make sure that this is this year's work, I'm calling it FA22. And hit enter. So remember that you have to create a new folder such as SSIS_project_files like this. This is where we will save what we are going to do next. Okay? What we are going to do next is in Visual Studio Integration Services, we will start the importing. So you can minimize everything. Don't close it. We will need that database again. So go ahead here and type Visual Studio and open the Visual Studio. You may have to sign in. If it asks you to sign in, use your AppState email and start the Visual Studio. We will go ahead and create a new project, and we will use one of the templates. So let's search for Integration Services, and I'm going to choose the Integration Services project, the first one, not the Azure enabled. No, the first one, Integration Services project. Let's go ahead, hit next, and let's give it a name. So start with your last name, and if you need to see where the instructions are for the steps from now on, you can find the instructions under assignment 304 file A. Okay, this is the one which helps you load product hierarchy. So it should have detailed instructions on what you need. Before you start working on the steps in this exercise, make sure you have created the PTI data warehouse. You have also loaded PTI accounting database, which we did in the previous video. So I'm going to call this as Agrawal_PTI_ETL project. And you can use any name you want, starting with your last name. Make sure it says PTI ETL project 1. Okay, now what's the location? We have to save it in the location that we just created, the SSIS folder. So I will go to my drive. You go to your network drive once again and use the SSIS project files. So point to that project files folder, not the source data. I'm going to the project files folder, select folder, and one thing you want to do is place solution and project in the same directory. Go ahead and check this box. Now take your time to verify everything looks right. You are saving in the folder that you created for project files. The project is named by your last name, and then you have checked place solution and project in the same directory. Let's go ahead and create this folder. For your reference, I'm following the instruction from assignment 304A, which has the product hierarchy load, and then you will have part B and C as well. And once you go through each one of these, you would have loaded all of the tables in the data warehouse, dimension tables in the data warehouse, not the fact table. So this is the loading sequence that we would create. Okay, so here are the instructions. I'll be following these instructions. If you want to work on your own, use my video, or you can also work on the exercise using these instruction sheet. Right now I am on Visual Studio. We created a package called Agrawal PTI ETL project, and the first task for me, according to our instruction, was to create product type. So the first thing I'm going to do is load data into the product type table. So let's go ahead and create this node. Make sure you are in the control flow view, and then I'm going to get data flow task and drag it onto my control flow view workspace. And this is one node. Since we are going to create the product type first, let's rename this. So right click, go all the way down to rename, say load product type. So that's the task we are going to do. And let's configure the data flow for this. I can just double click this node. It will take me to the data flow view. And I need to create the source data and the destination data. For us, for this problem, the source data is in the accounting database. Let me show you where. So this PTI accounting DB, that's my source data. And for product type, basically I'm taking data from this DBO product types table in the accounting database, and I intend to put that in my data warehouse. So when I'm going to configure my source, I'm going to point to PTI accounting database and point to this table. Let's do that. So go back to Visual Studio. I am going to put a data flow. Within the data flow, go to the left hand side, go all the way down until you find other sources. In your case, it may not be expanded. So go ahead and expand other source and make sure that you are getting OLEDB source, no other one, OLEDB source. Drag an instance of that here. Once you have that, we will configure it. So go ahead and right click edit. It says, where is in my connection manager? If you have existing connection, you can select one. This is my first time doing it. I don't have any connection. So I'm going to create a new one. Cancel new. And well, it shows us some connection. In your case, it may not have one. So let's go ahead and do new. I'll show you what you need to do. Server. Your server is the one that you have been using. So let me show what you need to type here. You need to type without these backslashes, this. You need to type cis-analytics.its.appstate.edu/cis. Instead of these last two digits, you type yours. So type that one up. Make sure you are not making any typos here. I'm changing it to 39. And once you have that, you go connect to a database. So within this server, I'm going to select which database do I want. In this case, my source is PTI accounting database. So search for PTI accounting database, not the data warehouse. My source is the accounting database. Then hit test connection. It should show as successful. If not, maybe you made a typing mistake here. Then you can go ahead and hit OK. Hit OK again. So you have a server. The next thing I want to put is data access mode can be table or view. In this case, I am getting data from one table into another table. So table or view. Later on, we will learn other access modes. Name of the table or view from which we are getting the data. In this case, we are loading the data from product types in accounting database to our data warehouse. So product type is what I would select. And if you wish, you can even preview the data by clicking on the preview button. After you have done this, I highly recommend looking at the columns. If you do so, then you can look at what are the available external columns and hit OK. So we do have our source data set up. Now we need to set up our destination. We will do something similar here. So on your left hand side where it said other sources, scroll a little bit down, you will see other destination. Feel free, if it's not expanded, expand it. Just like OLEDB source, there is OLEDB destination, drag it onto your workspace. This is going to be her destination table. Now we need to make a connection between these two. So this blue arrow, extend it to the second one, the destination. Make a connection between the source and the destination. Now I'm going to right click my destination, edit, and I'm going to enter specific information about where is my destination table. So in this case, this is going to be my data warehouse table, product type, which is right now empty. So I'm going to point it to that. So we have an existing connection for accounting. I don't need that one. I will go new again. My server name is the same. So let me show you what the server name is. So once again, use your number here. So go ahead, type it up. So instead of this 00, you are going to use your number. So I'm using 39. Okay. Now, so we do have the server name. Now I need to say which database. My destination is the warehouse. So I'm using last name underscore PTI underscore DW, or the data warehouse. This is right now empty. So go ahead and use your last name underscore PTI underscore data warehouse. Okay. Do the same thing with test connection. We want to make sure the connection is successful. And then we can hit OK. OK again here. Now, so we have our connection manager done. I'm exiting out of it. Data access mode. Right now, I'm going to do table or view, fast load. Name of the table or view. So which table do I want my data to go to? In this case, I want the DIM product type table. So go ahead, select, go to DIM product type. Make sure you are selecting the correct one. What I'm going to do next is the most important step here. It's called mapping. So right under connection manager, you have mapping. In mapping, make sure that you are mapping the correct columns. So product type code goes to product type name goes to product type name. Then you can hit enter. So this connection is made. Keep saving your work by using file save all, or you can just use this icon up here, save all. Using this will help you save all the elements that you are working with, not just the selected elements. So we need to test it now if this piece is working. So go back to control flow. We have one data flow task, that is load product type, basically just loading data into one table. I'm going to execute it. To do that, I will highlight this, or you don't have to even highlight if there are multiple things. Just go ahead. On top you will see start. So go ahead and run it using that start button. The build has started. It may take up to 1 minute or so to run it. So give it some time. The package execution completed successfully. You can see there is a green check mark here indicating it ran successfully. Let's go to the data flow, and that will show me here that we have 4 rows of data transferred between these two tables. So my destination table should have 4 rows of data. Let's go check. I will go to my SQL and look at it. So SQL Server Management Studio, I left it open in the background. So go ahead, click on that. Remember, we had some script from previous. If you don't have the script like I do, you can start over. If you have this, well and good. If you don't have the script here, let me show you where to get it. You will go to your Agarwal PTI data warehouse, right click, go to new query. And then in your assignment file, if you scroll all the way down, you will see there is a test script right here. So we can copy this thing. And if you are working on your computer and Udesk, if this file is open on your regular computer, not on Udesk, then you can only manually copy, like using keyboard, not mouse. So Control C and go to your Udesk. Here, use Control V. You cannot use your mouse, unfortunately. So now, look at this script. It says use data warehouse name. So I'm going to delete all of this and replace this with your data warehouse name. In my case, it's Agrawal_PTI_DW. So use whatever your name says. Okay, so use that. This means that for the following statements, use this database. We have several ones now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I am going to check if there is data in the product types table. So for that, let me use comment to comment out the delete statements. So I'm using /* and right after this go, I'm doing */. So that has commented out my delete statements. So I only have my select statements visible. I'm just trying to select data from product type table. Well, you can just select one statement and go execute it. And you will see that dim product type data has statements or has data in it. Sometimes people think that selecting one statement is troublesome, so comment out whatever you don't want and then straight up go use execute. That will execute whatever is not commented out, in this case all of these select statements. And if you scroll down in your results window, it will show you none of the tables except dim product type has data. Whichever approach you like, you use that. Now, so it has data. Good. Now that I've seen it has data, I'm going to delete this data. You will say, wait, why? The reason is I am creating my load sequence one by one so that I can load all the data together. So basically, I only have this piece so far, load product type. I want to build it, test it that this is working, then delete whatever it has created, build the next step, load product into subtype data, then use this to load the data into two tables together, then delete the data from those two tables. Incrementally, I'm going to build this whole load sequence, and I'm again and again running this or executing one module at a time to make sure that this is working. Okay, we will do the whole load sequence, then finally we will transfer data from source to destination all in one go. So while you are adding one more step, you just tested that this is working, the data is being loaded, but we'll keep on deleting those data. So let's go ahead and delete that data. For deleting, I can take my delete statement out of the comments. So delete. Now I have the entire script, no comments on here, and just go up top and say execute. It will delete everything and show me that there is no data in any of the tables. So good.